We are live. Hello, everybody. Tonight is going to be interactive. We are going to be talking about how to take better photos for Instagram and for social media in general. So I am not sitting at my desk, as you can tell. You can see the patio door behind me. I've done a little staging setup here in my living room. Danny, hey, good to see you. We got Carla, Edit Mode, Be My Marketers here. Good to see you guys. So I'm going to be doing some moving around. I'm going to be actually like flipping my camera around and giving you examples of how to take better photos and showing you how different things actually impact your photos. So it's going to be, like I said, interactive. You're going to see a lot of my apartment, and I did not really clean up. So welcome to my house. You'll know I have a toddler because there's pink and toys pretty much everywhere in every corner of my living room. So we're gonna have fun. I'm gonna show you things. I'm gonna, like I said, flip the camera around and kind of give you guys good examples of how different alignments and different staging and different lighting and different components can drastically change your photos. So I'm hoping it's going to be really fun. I'm hoping it goes well. You'll have to bear with me as cameras bounce up and down and we move around. So it's going to be fun. Let me go ahead and type up here that this is what we are talking about tonight. We got Dewey in the house. Good evening. James is in the house. We got Cloth and Palm in the house. Everyone, Greenwood Image is here. Good to see you too. Okay, so we are doing how to take better photos. All right, and we're gonna post that and we're gonna pin that. Oopsies. We're pinning. Okay, too many things were coming in. I couldn't pin my own comment. So for those of you who are watching on the replay, if you want to go ahead and jump ahead a couple minutes, go ahead and tap on the screen if it's on the replay here on Instagram. I am going to do my best to make sure I save this and get it uploaded to YouTube because I think this will be a really good tutorial. So if that's the case, then I will, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you might want to jump ahead about 2 or 3 minutes into this video because we do tend to do some chit chat, some hey, how's it going, say hi to my peeps. And just have some fun for the first couple minutes before we dive into everything. So, as always, we can't go over an hour. Instagram won't let me. I have no idea how long this will take. I have lots of fun tips and tricks to talk about. And even though I will be showing you actual practical application of these things, I will flip the camera back and try to grab a seat back here. I'm literally sitting in my daughter's chair. So just to show you guys, like literally, I am sitting in my daughter's chair and I have her desk. And we're doing a whole bunch of fun stuff. So it's going to be really fun. We're going to, share some insights and knowledge. And I want you guys to be interactive. You guys know I love when you bring the interaction. So feel free to ask the questions, ask for tips, hey, is this better to do than this? I am not an expert photographer. I'm not trained in photography. I have done some photography courses. I know what works most of the time, but I'm not a complete professional in that capacity, but I'm happy to answer and give as much insight as I possibly can on this topic. So with that being said, we are tonight talking about how to take better photos for Instagram, but also social media in general. We're talking about cell phone photography. I'm an Android girl, so I will be showing you things and talking about things a bit more from an Android perspective. A lot of these things are also iPhone compatible. So they may be in different locations, different menu settings, all that kind of stuff. But there are very similar features and that kind of thing that'll kind of help you guys better understand. Now, the other thing is I can't do a full kind of tutorial on camera phone technology because I am live on Instagram on the camera. So where I would normally be like, oh, here you can turn on your grid, or here you can tap to like change your exposure and do these sorts of things, I can't really show you because then I wouldn't be on camera. So there's some things that we can kind of talk about and tips and tricks that we'll go through that I think will help you in better understanding how to, use your camera phone, but understand that I can't necessarily show you everything. But I'm going to try to make this as interactive as possible as we get going. So we are ready to get started. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump those in or drop those in, and we'll get to them when we can. Happy person joined. Good to see you. Whitney Design Studios is here. My girl Danny at Head in the Clouds Boutique is saying she's getting better. She is getting better. Your photos are looking awesome, sweetie. Greenwood Image is saying, any insight into what makes a great profile picture? That is a good question. Okay, so I can answer that one really quickly, actually. So a great profile picture would not be this because this is not, and I can tell you why this is not, because I have tons of weird reflections in my glasses. I have distracting background that's going to be confusing, and if it's cropped, it's going to look even more weird and things like that. So great profile pictures. You want something that is actually your face. You want something that you can see your face, you look good, that actually looks like you. I do not want a photo of you 20 years ago. I do not want a photo of you that's been completely photoshopped to the point of not looking like you. Like we want you to look like you in your profile photos. And look, presentable. Make sure that you have, done your hair. If you're a girl, maybe you're at least put on, a little bit of makeup, that kind of thing to kind of freshen up for the camera. Understand that the camera is going to enhance things that you may not want to be enhanced. So try a couple things, look and see, what's working with lighting and alignment and things like that before you, just say, hey, I'm going to take this photo. And you'll get used to things. So I better lose weight. You do not need to lose weight. That is not true at all. It is not, we want you to look like you. That's absolutely 100% the point. But some of the things that people don't realize is, like, I'm sitting at a kind of a bad angle right now because of where I've got this normal setup tonight. This is not a good angle for photos. So what I would normally do is I would actually go up a little bit higher and tilt your head up for a better profile photo. It's going to give you a better jawline, and this goes for men and women. When you go up, it makes your face look a little bit more elongated. You have a much better angle of your head. You're not looking up your nose. You're not looking at your chin. You're not doing like a weird, funny, squishy face. And watch, like, that's going to be like the screenshot that saves. It's going to be my ugly, squishy face. But so you want to come up and you want to turn your head a little bit as much as possible. One way or the other, we all have a better side, left or right. But you definitely want to kind of tilt one way or the other. Straight on is never a great profile photo, you guys. It's never going to be the best. You always want to have a bit of an angle. It's always going to help. And then, yeah, Head in the Clouds, Danny just said, gets rid of that double chin. None of us want that double chin, and we all get it. I don't care how perfect you are. We all get a double chin when we do funny things. So going up and elongating your neck, pushing your neck out, or your chin out away from your neck, is always going to help give you a better profile. And then we want good backgrounds. Like I said, this is not a good background for a profile photo. It's distracting. So you want something that's either a simple background or something that is, one color, or something that isn't distracting. We want you to stand out. Now, I'm talking about things from a professional perspective. This is something for a business profile. Obviously, whatever you want on your personal Facebook or that sort of thing, your personal, profile photo can have, things in the background. You could be out at the park, you could be doing things like that, you could have kids in the background, your kitchen, whatever. That's totally fine. But from a professional perspective, even if you have a background, let's say you are at the park and let's say there's a bunch of trees in the background, a good photographer, and you can even do this on your phone, put the focus on your face so that the back is blurry. I don't want to be able to see the details and the minutia of what's going on in the background. That should be minimized and blurred almost in order to bring you to the focal point. And we're going to talk about focal point and achieving that effect on your smartphone cameras as well. So those are kind of some of my best tips. I hope that answers that question on what makes a good profile photo. So, Dewey had put in, how many is too many hashtags? So I'm not going to talk too much about hashtags tonight because I just want to talk about taking photos. When it comes to Instagram, you can't do more than 30. Anything up to that point is good. I don't believe there is such a thing as too many, just so you know. Okay. And Head in the Clouds said portrait mode. So yes and no. Here's the thing when it comes to and here's the thing. iPhones have that portrait setting, and that's what I'm like, yes and no. So portrait mode in iPhone is great. You don't have portrait mode in Android. In Android, we have a beauty filter. And believe you me, when you look, this is not on beauty filter, which is an unfortunate reality because I'm on live camera. But when I do a selfie, oh, that beauty filter is on, I can promise you that. And trust me, I do not look nearly as good in real life as I do in my profile photos, because that thing just gets rid of all of these lines and the wrinkles and the shine, and everything just looks flawless when you turn on that beauty filter. So there are a lot of different things that you can do within your camera settings to enhance that and make yourself look a little bit, fancier schmancier. Whitney Design Studio saying, as an artist, can I break some of these rules? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm giving you guys best practices. There are some people that, are going to turn around and they're going to do something with really harsh lighting, and you're only going to see a portion of the face and the other part's going to be in shadow, or they're going to do something where, you make it more artistic, like you do like a watercolor filter or something over it. Of course. When you want to do something that's related to your brand, I want you to take your branding and make it your own. I'm just saying, in general, for a good professional style profile photo, especially for things like, LinkedIn or those sorts of things, you definitely want to follow these rules. That doesn't mean that these rules are steadfast. Absolutely, you can break them, and no matter what, you still want your personality to shine through. I'm giving you all these rules, but that doesn't mean I want you to sit there and be like, and not have any personality. If you're one of those like, nah, then take your profile photo doing that. Like, if you are the big wide mouth, happy face, jumping up and down, great, show that personality in your profile photo. The profile photo should showcase that, and I don't want to diminish that with these, rules. I want you to realize that you can absolutely take advantage of your branding, your personality, and your styling in this capacity as well. So back to Dewey's point about hashtags, whether there's an optimal amount because of the algorithm. This is something, again, I don't want to get into this too much tonight, because it's not related to this topic that I really want to focus on. Agorapulse just did a big study. If you go to Agorapulse and you look at their social media lab, they did a big study on it, and I think they found the magic number was 7. Some people say the magic number is 11. Some people say there is no magic number. It has to be tested in more detail for your account to really maximize it. Right now I'm using 10 to 15 is kind of my magic number. You want to be using them, obviously, but we could talk more about that in another conversation. I just don't want to detract too much from, because I'll go down a rabbit hole and I'll miss out on everything I wanted to talk about tonight. Greenwood Image says, I will actually be listening to this while I photograph the full moon coming up. Nice, that's awesome. I love that people get out there and, like, when we had the eclipse or do the full moon, like all those sorts of like great nighttime shots. I love that kind of photography. I think it's really cool. Head in the clouds. Danny's saying, I want beauty filter. Trust me, honey. It is fabulous. If you are an Android user, when you go to your camera settings, it's literally called like beauty, and it's like a 1 to 10 scale. And I drop it in, at like 5. I don't, like, all the way is like, ooh, it's some serious photoshopping. But it's definitely really good to have. Real TPS Fit, it's about damn time, girl. Where you been? She was, sorry I'm late. You are late, girl. I know. I messed everybody up by coming on live on Tuesday, and we don't have as many viewers as usual. I'm sure because I'm messing it up and messing with all of you. But the replay will be available for 24 hours for any of you who can't stay on. And I'm going to try to get this up on YouTube as well, because I think this will be some really good information for you guys. So, yeah, Danny's saying she's got an iPhone. Okay, so I hope that answers those questions. You guys keep bringing the questions in. One of the first topics I want to talk about tonight is lighting. And I'm specifically sitting where I am for a reason, because as I mentioned at the top of the video, I am not at my desk. I am in my living room, and I did a little mini staging. And this, I want to talk to this too. It takes staging. Like, you don't just snap a photo. Like, you got to plan this shit, you guys. Like, you really have to put some effort into it. You got to move things around. You got to find the right lighting. You got to find the right place. You got to get the right props. It takes time to take good photos, and it's practice, and you'll get better at it as you do it more often, but some of the things we're going to talk about tonight are going to address some of those things that you want to talk about. So Be My Marketing saying it's a perfect time for me on the Gold Coast. Awesome. I love when, actually I get a lot of people that come in from different places, and some people it's like 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, what are you still doing up? Like, go to bed, come watch the replay. But I'm glad when it does work out. Okay. And Tanya's saying I'm leaving early tomorrow morning for a 9-day faith retreat. So busy. Dang, girl. I'm kind of jealous though. I could use a 9-day retreat. I'm just saying. I could use one. but good for you. So excited for you. Okay, so Peanut Gallery, mwah, hi, honey. So good to see you. Well, not that I can see you, but good to see you. We need to catch up. Okay, so let's talk about lighting. Now, here's where things are going to get interactive and fun. Yeah, take me with you. I am 100% with you. I want to go on that retreat. Okay, so I'm going to move. I'm going to get up out of my little tiny chair, and this is exactly what I want to show you. So this is lighting. I literally have my window, and the sun is at the perfect light for lots of things. But you see how you can't see me? You see how horrible this is? And if I start to move in front of that window, yes, it's going to start to look better, but there's still a lot of backlighting. It's still not good lighting. You never want to be backlit. Not never. Again, artistically, there's reasons why you might want to change this rule, but in general, you never want to be backlit. And the more I pull the camera away from me, see how bad that gets? No matter what I do, you literally can't see me. It's a horrible type of lighting. So the closer you can get, the more you can try to minimize that, but it's still not going to be good lighting. You're going to get weird shadows and weird effects. But as I start to turn, and I'm literally not moving from the space. I'm standing in the exact same space. I'm just rotating in a corner or in a circle. So now I have the harsh light on my face and I've got dark shadows. Again, not good. And this appeals not just to when you're doing an actual person, but when you're doing product. I really want you guys to think about this lighting component when you're especially working with photography on a phone, because the phone cannot translate the difference between light and shadow like the eyes can. And DSLRs are a little bit better, but even they can't translate properly. So I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep turning. Now I've got some really harsh light on my face. I've got really funky shadows. This is, again, no bueno. This is not good. I would never want this as a photo because I'm going to be squinting. There's weird lines, weird shadows. It's really harsh. The sun just came up from behind a cloud, so it's making me go blind. And as I start to turn, again, it's going to be the exact same effect. Okay, now I'm going to step over here. Technically, I'm in the shade, but I'm facing the window. And yes, like I said, I did not clean up my house. Those are balloons. For those of you who are on my personal Facebook page, you know that recently my coworker and I unicorn bombed my boss's office. He went on vacation and we made it look like a 5-year-old's birthday party exploded in his office at work. So I still have remnants. We brought home the helium balloons for my daughter and stuff. So they're still in the background. But see how, and Sue Zimmerman calls this hotel filter. Because I'm standing in front of a window. I'm really close to my window. I have the light coming in, natural, beautiful light, and my skin looks flawless. Again, this is no beauty filter. This is, believe it or not, this is just straight camera. If I had the beauty filter on, I'd be much happier with the way this looks. But this is good lighting. Now, if I go up, see how I get the reflections in the glasses? And if I tilt down, so again, this is where going up, changing that angle, giving yourself the longer jaw, tilting your head out, not as many reflections in the glasses, great lighting. Now, again, if I start to turn though, the lighting is going to be behind me. It's not going to be as good of a lighting component. So I really want you to think about that, whether it's products or people. You want to be with the lighting behind the camera, not behind the subject. And you want that hotel filter when it's a person. You want to get as close to your natural light as you possibly can. You guys are adorable. Tanya's saying because you're beauteous. Thank you. And yeah, so Tanya's saying lighting is everything. It is totally everything. Lighting can absolutely transform your images. You guys, it's so important, this is why I wanted to make this the first topic, because I wanted to make sure that we covered this in detail and why this is so important. So now I'm going to take it a little bit more seriously. And the lighting moved. When I set this all up, it was even better, you guys. So I'm really kind of bummed that oh, did I say Tanya? I meant Danny. Did I say Tanya? I meant Danny, my girl Danny. You guys are just too awesome, so I confused the two of you because you're both awesome. Okay, I'm turning this around. I'm trying to turn, okay. So, I had better lighting before, so I want you guys to look at this, and I need to move this over into the shade because it's messing with me. Okay, so let's say I told you I set up props and stuff for you guys. Okay, so imagine I want to take this photo right here. See how it's a white table, I've got the white kind of magazines, it's a little harsh, imagine that the shadows aren't there from the window frame, but it's really harsh, okay? It's a little too much because it's too bright of a light. So instead, again, I'm right next to the natural light, but the moment I move into the shadow, now my dog is being crazy because this is my life. So I move into the shadow. Look how much better that looks. Now, if I was to like actually zoom in and like, you know, take a photo of this, I've got the flowers, I've got the magazine, get the magazine in focus. So that looks so much better from a lighting perspective. I still have all the natural light coming in. I'm not using overhead lighting. I'm not relying on any other component. I'm using natural light, but I'm doing it in the shade versus in the sun. See, it's so much different, you guys. And this is because your phone can translate lighting better when it's not that harsh, bright sun. So you want natural light, but you don't want that harsh, bright sun. Okay, so that is one component. Now, I can't really do it because I don't have anything else set up to be able to show you guys. But that's, you know, and that's because my apartment is so bright right now that I couldn't do the alternative, which I would want to show you guys what overhead lighting looks like in comparison. And so this is natural light, and you can see even with those white magazines on a white table, you get this beautiful quality photo. And we talked last time about those Stepford Wife accounts and that whitewashed effect. Totally did not do this on purpose to create whitewash effect. I'm just trying to just happen to grab magazines that were white and I have a white table. But the thing is that it does create this beautiful stream of nice, even dispersed lighting when you get overhead lighting. So as the sun starts to set and, you know, nighttime starts to, you know, kind of come in, and now you're relying on fluorescent lighting or overhead lighting, again, it's going to drastically change how your photos look, and they're not going to look nearly as good. So this is where planning comes into effect. I really want you guys to think about the planning factor when you're doing your photos, because plan for the daytime. If it means you have to wait until the weekend, if it means you have to wait until, you know, the kids are off at a play date or whatever it is where you have peace and quiet in the middle of the day, plan for that. The more you can do your photos in the middle of the day or when you can be around natural light, the better they're going to come out. If you're rushing and all of a sudden you're like, hey, it's, you know, Thursday night at 8 o'clock and I need to get this photo and I need to slap it, you know, together. Bye, Allison. Good to see you. We'll talk later. If you're rushing to do that, so now you're trying to like get a great photo, but it's dark and you have this horrible overhead lighting and you're not going to get a good component, your photos aren't going to look as good. So this is why I really want you guys to think about, you know, one of my biggest things when I work with my clients is that time management. Plan ahead. Plan for what you want. Plan for the, you know, this, you know, whether it's not just the lighting, but where in your house you're going to be or where out in the, you know, community you're going to be. What props do you need? All of this staging is really going to go into this component. Okay, so on that note, we're talking staging. So see how I tied that together? I totally did not plan to do that, but let's totally pretend I did. So the next thing I want to talk about is staging. So I'm going to pull this back over here, and I'm going to, you know, mess with the kids' toys because I told you you're literally like in my house watching all of this go down. So let's say that I'm going to turn this around. I told you guys it's going to be interactive. You're all up in my business. Okay, there's the dog. Say hi to the dog. Isn't she exciting? Okay, so ignoring the things around the outside, but let's say I wanted to do some staging. And, you know, so here we go, and I've got the flower, and I've got the sunglasses, and I've got the magazine. So this is a decent photo right here, right? Let's say I'm trying to focus on the magazines. Great, simple overhead shot. And see how that flat lay makes such a difference? And this is where all the staging comes on, because as I just showed you, there's the dog. Now let's say I wanted to do the magazine from here. See, it's really hard to read the magazine. It's distorted. The flowers are kind of cut off. So Tanya's saying, oh my goodness, doggy is adorbs. She is. Here, you want to say hi? Say hi. Oh my goodness, you actually made a cute face. Now she's going to try to eat my phone. So the more you start to get up here versus the more you go down here. And not to mention, now look at how distracting that background is. You can see her dog toy in the middle of the floor. You can see my kitchen. You can see the couch. You're like, hey, what's going on over there? And oh, look, there's a dog again. So this is not, and this is why it's really all about staging, because it's not just snapping a photo. And naturally, we're like, hey, here, I put two things on the table. I'm going to hit snap and snap the photo. No, I want you to try different angles. I want you to get up top. I want you to do a flat lay. I want you to get down low. Maybe you come in like this. Start playing with your camera angles in terms of how you are staging your photos. Now, another aspect, and I was going to go, okay, so let's say, okay, here. Let's go over here. Again, I'm showing you, my guys, welcome to my house. So we've got all the kids' toys here. Okay, I told you, I got a 2-year-old, right? You guys know it. So let's just say hypothetically, in this image, I wanted the focal point to be the logo in the background that says Jen's Trends. Let's say that was the focal point I wanted to, have people recognize in the photo. That is never going to show up in this photo. This photo is way too distracting. If you took a screenshot of this and called this a photo, this is crappy. Let me be perfect. This is crappy content because it's so distracting. There's too many things to look at. It's so overwhelming. There's the toys, there's the couch, there's the desk, there's the things on the side, there's the wall, there's things over on the right side. It's too much. So you'd want to get closer and 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 closer until now it's actually a focal point. Still not a good photo, but you can see the difference in the impact that this makes from there to when it's close up. And this all has to do with your staging. It all has to do with your planning. So I really want you guys to think about this. Now, another component that we already kind of talked about, I'm going to turn this around so you can see me. So, hey, look at me. Oh, I have a bunch of giant balloons over my head. Maybe not the best angle. So maybe I start turning this way and I can start eliminating, though now again, this is not great lighting because now I'm backlit, but this is a much more appealing image. I have the clock, I have a nice simple background. This is a better photo. Think about the same thing, whether you're doing people, products, or that sort of thing. Now let's say I turned around and I was like, hey, I want to get that hotel filter, I want to get that beautiful lighting. Boom, I look fabulous. Oh, but look, there's the high chair, there's the kitchen, there's all the stuff on the counter. Like I said, I did that clean up for you guys. I love you, but I didn't get around to cleaning up. So this is my house. This is distracting. Whether it's a person or whether it's a product, all of this needs to be factored in. So when it comes to your staging, I really want you guys to think about these things. I really want you to pick those focal points. I want you to know what is the key object in your photo. Is it the person? Is it the product? What is it? And then build your staging around that. Danny, gotta go. No worries, sweetie. Replay will be up. Come back and catch it then. So when you're doing anything, think about what's in the background. And here's the thing, you guys. When I take photos, I take 487 photos of everything. Like literally when I just did that flat lay with the 2 magazines and I had the flowers and then the sunglasses on the white table, not only am I like arranging it in the camera before I take a photo, but then I'm taking a photo and another one from the left, from the right, from the up, down, a little bit of a different angles, shifting over here, shifting over there, because you never know which photo is going to come out the best. One may get a little bit blurry. One may get a little bit, too far to the right, or maybe one got a little, something in the background, or someone moved in the background and things happen. Never take one photo, ever. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care what it is, you do never, and especially if there's moving components, if there are children, animals, or anything, you take 500 photos. I'm not even joking. You can go back and delete the ones that are crap. And then you can go back and choose the ones that are okay to good. And then you narrow it down to good to great. And then you pick your final. I literally go through this process every time I go anywhere. Shooting photos of my daughter, shooting product photos, working with clients, working on my own business photos, you name it. I never take one photo, ever. White Lopez is saying, this is great, Jen. Love it. I'm so glad you are. Real TPS Fit Tanya saying, I wish I could take just one photo, LOL. Yeah, it's never going to happen. People who take one photo, I'm like, who are you? So, total random funny side note. For some reason, apparently I attract people that want me to take their photos. It happens. Every time I go anywhere, someone stops me and says, hey, can you take a photo of us? When it's 2 people, whether you're out at a touristy thing or doing whatever, people always ask me to take their photos. And I'm the crazy person that they probably regret at the time, but then they thank me later because I'm okay, move to the left. Okay, go over here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, 1, 2, 3, snap. Okay, let's do another one over here. 1, 2, 3, snap. And I take 3 photos for random strangers. And they're we just wanted one photo. I'm no, we don't do one photo. That's not how the world works. And I know they're grateful afterwards because they get home and they're wow, I have 3 photos to choose from that all look really good versus some random stranger who took a half blurry photo and they're oh yeah, so-and-so stranger over here took a crappy photo of us. I never, it's impossible for me to take one photo. I have anxiety attack if I only take one photo because what if it's blurry? You can't go back and do it again. You need proof that things happen. So you can't take just one photo. James is saying awesome tips, going more photos everywhere I go. Thank you. I'm so glad. I hope that helps you. Okay. So now that we've talked staging and making sure, like, think about your background, think about everything. And here's the thing, take a photo. Just take a photo. And then look at the photo. I want you to look at the photo analytically. I want you not to look at the focal point. We all know what the focal point is. Let's say I take a photo of this right now, or that one where I was showing you my logo, or the one where I had the, the magazines and the flower and stuff on the table. Great. You take that photo, then go back and look at it. Is there anything in the background that needs to be moved? Is there something that, like, how many times do you take a photo and you're at this amazing place and then you realize there's a trash can in the background? You're like, really? There's a trash can in my photo. Like, why didn't I see that when I took the photo? Like, I could have moved it and I'd have the perfect photo. Or like, something's in the background that you wish wasn't there. So when you look at a photo from a business perspective, do not look at the focal point. You've already looked at that. You've already analyzed that. That's in focus. That's the focal point. We're good to go. What's going on in the background? Is there like some crazy hair action going on that I need to, mess up? Is there something funky in the background? Is there something I need to clean up? Is there something I need to maybe move to a different angle? These are all things you should be doing before you take all the additional photos. Like, take a few photos, then look at them. Stage them again. Move around. Take more photos. Look at them. Edit them. Stage them. What do you need to fix? Until you get the right photos. Like, this is not a simple process. It really isn't. Like, you should be spending serious time commitment on your photos, you guys. I'm not joking. This stuff takes time. You get better with it with practice, and you'll start to look at things from a photographer's perspective. You'll start to be like, oh, stand over here because that's in the background. Or like, you stand somewhere and there's like a tree popping out of your head. Like, if you'd moved 2 inches to the right, it would have been a beautiful photo, but now you have a tree growing out of your head for the rest of your life when you look at that photo. Like, these are things you need to think about that most people don't. And you need to start putting that perspective when you're doing all your photos. Tanya's saying, edit, edit, edit. Absolutely. Be My Marketer said, we once did a whole photo shoot and my husband had a flock of seagulls' hair and no one noticed. Oh my God. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. But obviously you can probably look back on it and laugh. But again, like, that's something that you can't change. Like, you can't go back and recreate those photos. You can't go back and fix that. Once it's done, it's done. And it's really like, you really want to go back and edit or review your photos before you move on so you can really make sure you got the best of everything. Okay, so related to staging, now I want you to start thinking about your alignment and how you're actually positioning your camera and the components of your photos. So we're going to go interactive again. So let's bring my magazines back over here. Okay. Oh my goodness. My chair's too little. Okay. So we did this, right? So we had this angle. So you've got, okay, great alignment. At this point, the focal point is the magazines right there in the center of the image. You've got the flowers, you've got the sunglasses. They're kind of out in the upper third. So you're really focusing on the magazines. That's easy. But what if I actually wanted the focus to be the sunglasses? How would I change this perspective? Well, I could come down here. Let's get the flowers still in there. I can come down here, and now I'm putting the sunglasses in the upper third corner, the upper third quadrant. So if you took your camera and you divided it into 3 rows and 3 columns, you would have 9 squares. You can do this really easily on your camera, you guys. You can just go into your settings and hit turn on grid, and you will actually see lines appear on your camera. But right now, because I have, as I start to, change and move around, the sunglasses start to become the focal point. Why? Because A, they're surrounded by white space, and everything else is cut off. The flowers are cut off, the magazine is cut off, so you realize that's not the focal point. They're still part of the staging, they're still part of the atmosphere and the vibe that you're creating around the sunglasses, but they are the focal point. Now, I could do the same thing, and I can go up here, and I could get the flowers. I could move around, start changing the focal point. See how as I get closer to the flowers, the other components become blurry. Now, and obviously ignore everything that's in the background with the kids' toys, but now the flowers are the focal point because they are in focus and everything else is blurry. This is another way to add to that kind of alignment. The closer you get, your camera will start to blur out the background. Now, let's say I wanted the flowers. Again, I can put them in a quadrant. So now they're kind of in that right third, upper third area. I can go over to this side and I can create white space I can get my thing to work. So I've got a tripod, which is making it really hard to get up close. But I can start moving around. I can go down here. And again, let's pretend the chair wasn't in the background. See, the flower is over on the left third, and there's a bunch of white space. If I wanted to create text or something like that, I have all that white space on the kind of right half of the screen and the upper half of the screen where I could put some text. So now I have this photo of a flower that I can add images to or text to create a beautiful image. Turn the flowers around. See how different that looks versus what I just had. All of this has to do with staging and alignment. These are two really big components. And I really want you to think about this when you're taking your photos. We went from talking about how the flat lay was effective and how that was creating a certain impact. Here I am doing a straight on shot and has a completely different effect. Better, worse, not necessarily true one way or the other. Again, as I start, getting closer, as I start moving around, you can see how the impact of that alignment changes the components of that image. Here we are on the left third versus if I get in, this tripod is really messing with me. And if I make it the center, it looks completely different. People love things to be asymmetrical. So it actually is beneficial. And you guys have probably noticed this when I'm in my office and I have my logo. And I have like my Jen's Trends logo over here, and I always sit off to the side of the camera. I legitimately do that on purpose. It's not an accident because it's actually visually appealing for things to be off center. Yes, it can be advantageous for things to be in the center. Right now I'm talking to you, I want to be in the center of the camera. I want to have, that interaction, great. But for photography, when you have things off to the side, see how I move over here? So I'm in this, when you're doing portrait where it's like, up, the vertical, it's kind of hard to do thirds across because there's not much space. But, again, versus up here, versus the middle, versus the lower third down here. All of these create different components to your images. So play with that. Play with moving your focal point. Play with, hey, come here. Come here. Come here. There's another dog barking outside, so now my dog wants to play along. But so there are, these different alignments that you can mess with and play with and experiment with and see what works. And again, for product shots, you guys, this is really, really valuable. It's really helpful to play with the product shots and moving them into the different thirds of the screen and not just having them right dead center, because dead center is almost a little too pushy. It seems too intentional. It's a little too in your face. When you put things off to the side, it actually does create a completely different effect. Okay. So speaking of that and product placement, I want to talk about products and how you use them, how you put them into, your photography for when you are, like if you're a product-based business and you are selling glasses, because I've got sunglasses here on the table, let's just be honest. Let's just really quickly do this, okay? Here, there's a photo. How cool are those? Do you want to buy those sunglasses? Are those awesome? Are they beautiful? Are they amazing? They're kind of cool. But by comparison, if I do this and I put them on a person and I take a great photo, now do you want to buy these sunglasses? Probably more so than where they were just sitting on the table, right? So you really need to think about how you're staging your products. And this even goes even for a service-based business. Like I am service-based and I take photos of, my desk and my computer and things that I'm working on. I'm not going to zoom up super close to the screen so you just see the screen. I'm going to stage it. I'm going to take a photo, but you're going to see the screen, but you're going to see my coffee, I don't drink coffee, but my tea sitting next to the screen. And you're going to see like a pen or a pencil and a pad of paper on the desk in front of the computer monitor. Is my stuff normally that close to the computer monitor? Hell no, but it looks good in the photo. It sells the concept. It sells the styling and the atmosphere and the environment that you're trying to appeal to your audience with. So whether it's a product, whether it's a service and you're using a component of your business, put things in context that people can relate to. People relate to people. So when you can put your product on a person, it's going to sell a lot better. Put those sunglasses on somebody's face. It doesn't have to be you if you don't want to photograph yourself. It can be somebody you work with. It can be somebody in your family, whatever the case may be. But putting products on people does better, especially on Instagram, but just in general on social media. Come here. Now my upstairs neighbors are vacuuming, so now my dogs don't want to bark at that. This is life. This is seriously what happens in the real world. This is why live videos are so entertaining, because life happens. But so again, let's say I always use an example from, like, Nike does this really well, but like they're selling golf balls. Okay, so you put a set of golf balls on a shelf, not so appealing. But you put a golf ball on a golf course, and Nike did this photo. It was like a couple years ago. Nike did this beautiful photo, and it's like at sunrise, and the mist is coming up off the grass. Like you can see the dew on the grass, and you can see the sunrise, like golden, sky, and the dewy grass. And there's this, perfect golf ball with the Nike swoosh, like right next to the hole. Like, that's an emotional connection. That makes me want to go buy that golf ball because I want to be on the golf course golfing with that golf ball. Just seeing a golf ball on a shelf, don't really care. Not going to sell it to me. I'm going to go buy that in the store or buy it online because I just saw it and that's what I want. There's not an emotional appeal with that kind of photography. So I want you to think about that when you're doing any product type, or like I said, even for service-based, if you're doing anything that showcases your business, get things in the perspective. I also often use Michael Kors as a great example. They use a lot of like promo shots, like they're selling a watch, but it's a girl in an environment. She's at a dinner party. She's at a restaurant. She's out with friends, whatever it is. And a lot of fashion bloggers do this. Fashion bloggers are great examples of photography that works well. And they're in a park and they're, talking about the boots, but you see the cute skinny jeans and you see the cute white winter sweater and the fall leaves are all like around their feet and they're wearing these cute boots. The boots are the focal point, but you have to put everything in context. If you just put those boots on a shelf in your house and said, here's these awesome boots, nobody's going to care. They want that component when it comes to styling and staging and actually putting everything, in an emotional connotation that they can relate to. So for your photography, that is really, really important. I really want you guys to focus on that. So another thing that I want to talk about is camera angles and placement. So we kind of already showed this a little bit. And it's kind of hard for me to do this in my house because I don't have a long space. But let's just say, for example, my doggie's getting like super anxious over here and she wants all my attention because I'm usually in my office ignoring her. But I keep moving around, so she wants to be a part of everything. So we already kind of talked about, doing like the flat lays and this sort of thing. But again, look at how different an angle perspective is if I get down really low. If I turn my camera versus having my camera up straight, see what a different impact that is? If I'm getting down like super close to something, same thing. If I move the sunglasses over here, if I wanted the sunglasses to be the object of focus, where I get in super close to the sunglasses and you can see everything in the background in context versus, again, a flat lay, how different that looks. Again, playing with angles. People on Instagram are really big on angles. So again, this is something that's really hard for me to do in my tiny little apartment. But again, where you can try to start to play with angles and getting down low, getting like, pulling on the angles of the table, going down the length of the table, getting, the lines, if it would actually focus on the object. Hello, go look at my sunglasses. There we go. Coming in at a different perspective. Get lines in your photos. So I always use this one example. James is taking off. I will see you later. I use this one example. I think I did a case study on them a while ago. And it was a hardwood flooring company. And they do really well on Instagram because it's hardwood flooring. Who cares, right? But they would get down really low and you could just see these long lines along all down a hallway or down this great room. And up here, the panel or the plank of wood is this big, but at the end of the photo it's this super narrow, and it just pulls on and draws you in through the visual appeal of these long lines. And it's stimulating, it's very appealing to look at. So if you can find ways to pull in any of that kind of angle or change in perspective, the same thing goes, I tell you guys all the time, the difference of getting up high versus getting down low. So again, let's just say hypothetically, if I wanted to shoot, okay, I've got the animals, the stuffed toys on the couch. here I'm at kind of eye level with them. Versus if I get up here, I'm up high. Versus here, I'm down here, down low. If I'm looking at a kid's product, think about a kid's perspective. Kids are down low. So, you know, you want to be up in that kind of visual versus an adult is going to be standing up like this. It's a different perspective. So all of these components tie in, if I can turn that around, all of these components of angling and placement and camera staging all play a serious component in how your photos are generated and created and the kind of context they create. So play with that. Get down low. You know, I've joked about this before. Like, I'll see people that, Tanya's got to go. Bye, sweetie. Come back and catch the rest of the replay. There's only a few minutes left. I got about 10 minutes left and I'll get kicked off. Have fun on your retreat. I can't wait. I want to hear all about it when you get back. I'm sure it's going to be amazing and I hope you have the best time ever. But playing with those different angles, you know, I've seen people that literally like get down in the dirt, like they're rolling in the dirt to get a great photo of a flower or to get, you know, a different perspective on something. I remember I went to, this was like a couple of years ago. I was invited to the Anaheim Angels Stadium to do photography for their Instagram account. I won a contest and was able to get on the field and do a bunch of photography. Well, I got down, I took one of the baseballs and I put it like right on the grass, like right up where the warning track meets the grass, and they were doing batting practice in the background. So the field of focus was on the baseball up close, but I was literally like, my phone was in like the dirt on the warning track. And then you could see like blurry in the background where they were doing like batting practice and stuff. But that perspective is completely different than if I just held up a baseball or if I just took a photo of batting practice. So playing with that angle and that different, you know, perspective point really can change your photos. And it's really impactful if you do it well. So again, this goes back to taking those, like, you know, 376 photos. Mess around, like get up high, get down low, stand on a chair, get on the floor, like try different things and then go back and figure out what ended up working best to create the emotional connection that you wanted to with those photos. Okay, so finally I want to talk about colors and context. So colors play a huge role in photography, you guys, and I actually read something, did not know this. But apparently at Disney World, and I think possibly even at Disneyland, they actually color code the and paint the sidewalks and surrounding structures to be certain colors because they pop better in photos. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It's Disney. I mean, Disney is like literally that neurotic about, you know, perfection. But they know that if you're on a blue background, it's going to perform better in photography and make you look better and happier and whatnot than versus if you're on like a harsh white concrete sidewalk. So things are colored and painted and strategically located and placed in order to help make sure your photos turn out looking better. I mean, kind of smart, just a little bit, right? But it's true. These things are really important, and photos are that emotional connection. You know, a photo says 1,000 words. So how can you convey that effectively? And one of the, you know, all the things we've talked about are great, but another thing you need to factor in is color. Like right now, I'm sitting against a white wall. I have dark hair, dark glasses. A white wall works for me. It allows me to stand out. If I was to stand out or stand against a dark wall, I wouldn't necessarily stand out as much. It would be much more washed out. Versus somebody who's blonde. Somebody who's blonde isn't going to want to stand against a white wall. They're going to want to stand against something that's a brighter color. Be My Marketer's thing, I've been trying to convince customers to design great photo spots in their venues. Disney rocks. Yes. Here's the thing, you guys. Like, if you have a physical location, whether you're a restaurant, like a hotel, a florist, a jeweler, give people a place to take photos. They want to take photos. And if you literally create selfie stations, you would be amazed at the amount of photos people will take. When you give them a place to take a photo, they're going to take it. They're going to take it even if you don't, if they really want to, but when you invite them to do it, they don't feel as awkward doing it. They don't feel like they're like, oh, should I or should I not? Like, if you say, great photo location, and like you have like a big sign, a big arrow that says great photo op, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I should take a photo over there, huh? Like, you need to tell people. Sometimes it's crazy how much you need to tell people what to do. but absolutely encourage, whether it's your customers, if you're doing a social media management type stuff, or if you are the business owner and the marketer for your company, create these places and think about that background. Like I'm here in San Diego, so a lot of things are down by the water, and you've got this beautiful, blue sky and the beautiful ocean and some palm trees. So that all plays into color. But what if you had a beautiful blue wall that just tied everything together? Or what if you went crazy and had like a bright neon like fuchsia wall that really like contrasted against the blue of the sky and the blue of the ocean and that sort of thing? So all of these things tie in and drastically change how your photos look. Again, like I said, I'm on a white wall. It's kind of boring. It works for this context because I want to stand out and I'm teaching and I don't want to be distracting. But in terms of a great photo, I would rather be out, against a bright, vibrant, like blue, and holding a yellow, coffee cup or something. Like those pops of color really allow things to stand out. A great example of this is Yellow Willow. If you go on Instagram at Yellow Willow, but it's only one W. So YELLOWILLOW. And every photo has the color yellow. No matter what she's photographing, no matter what she's doing, and it's all varied. She's a photojournalist. She does photography. But everything always has a pop of yellow in it in some capacity. And it ties it all together. It's branding, it's her coloring, it streamlines her feed. And when people see her content, they assume it's hers because there's that pop of yellow that you start to recognize. But it's fun, it's happy, it's uplifting. You can't be sad when you're looking at the color yellow. So do that. Another great example of that is Beatson Charity, BEATSON Charity. I want to say they're in New Zealand. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure they're in New Zealand. They're a cancer charity, cancer hospital, and everything is yellow. Their entire branding is all yellow because you can't be sad and unhappy when you're surrounded by the bright, happy, cheery color yellow. And their Instagram feed is all happy and talking about the benefits and the rewards of donating and how you're helping people. And they make it very uplifting. But it's happy and you feel good and you're happy for them. And it's a very unique way to, again, take a color palette that can transform your photos. I love the color blue, but in a lot of ways, blue can be a very almost depressing color. It can be very calming. It can be a little bit moody, generating. So you have to be careful with the color blue, and these colors and how you use them will drastically impact that emotional connection that we've been talking about in your photography. So play with that. Pick a color. If your branding color is purple, then find ways to incorporate purple. If your branding color is yellow, blue, red, whatever it is, find ways to incorporate that coloring, and it will brand your content, but again, it will add an emotional connection to people when they start to see it and they recognize your color scheme. Okay, so those are all the notes I had. I know we didn't have as many viewers as usual. I know we were a little bit messed up on the day because I've got something super exciting going down tomorrow. I can't talk about it. To be honest, I don't even really know what's happening. I just know it's with some super awesome people, and when they said, "Can you come?" I was like, I will be there. I don't even care what you want me to do. I will be there. When they were like, you show up when these people invite you. I'm just saying. So it's going to be super exciting, but as a result, I had to move this to tonight. So the replay will be available here on Instagram for 24 hours. I'm going to try to get this up on YouTube in the next week or so, because I think some of these tips will be really helpful, and I hope you guys, got some great takeaways, but I hope you'll come back and watch it again, because a lot of things we talked about aren't necessarily groundbreaking, but they take some practice. So do some things, get some practice, feel comfortable with it, and then come back and watch the video again. I really do want to encourage you to come back and watch it again and be like, oh, okay, now that I got these 3 things, I totally didn't focus on this, or I didn't think about that, or I, totally forgot that you mentioned this aspect. So coming back and watching it again and replaying that, I think will be really helpful in working on your photography. So JD Gem is saying will do. So glad you will. White Lopez SM is saying thank you. Have fun tomorrow. Oh, I'm gonna have fun. I've been having a really good week. I feel kind of bad, you guys. Like, it's been a really shitty week. Like, it's been a shitty month for a lot of people. Like, between hurricanes and earthquakes and what happened in Vegas, like, it's been a really bad month for a lot of people, and I kind of feel bad, but I've been having a really good week, and I'm really happy, and I posted about it on my personal Facebook today, and I was like, you know what? for all the sadness, like I pray and I hope and I'm happy to help in any way I can with, you know, people that I can help. But in the same turn, I'm like, I am happy and I'm having a really good day and I'm having a really good week. And I think we need to celebrate those wins as well. And we need to celebrate the happiness and the goodness and the great things that are going on and the great, amazing people and the blessings we have in our lives. So on that note, I do want to thank all of you who did tune in. I really hope that you find some valuable tips in this. I'm always here to help you guys. If you have questions, please feel free to share those with me. Shoot me an email. Or hit me up here on Instagram DM if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help. And thank you, you guys. Whitney Designs Studio saying thanks, and Asha, saying yes. Asha, of course, I knew you would agree. I didn't know you were still on, but thank you for staying on, and I know you agree. And Be My Marketer is saying I'm happy too. Don't feel guilty, and it's hard not to feel guilty. But yeah, we have to celebrate the good things in life and celebrate the happiness and the joy and the light in the life that is going on around us, because there is so much darkness and sadness and evil, and I think we need to rise above that. And to do that, we need to celebrate the good things that are going on. So I'm having a great week. I hope you guys continue to have a great week. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help. Hoping to get a blog post out tomorrow. Not sure. I have some other commitments that may detract a blog post, but as always, you guys know where to find me. So stay tuned for a blog post, hopefully. And then if not, we'll be back again in 2 weeks on a Wednesday, in 2 weeks from now, to talk more about something else on social media. Haven't figured out what that's going to be yet, but we will have another topic rounded up for you guys in a couple weeks. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for staying on. I hope you guys got a lot of tips. Great to see you guys. Love you all. Mwah. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you soon. Bye. If I can end it. Why does it never end? I always do this and it doesn't end. I always end up like making a fool of myself because I'm like, end, trying again, maybe. See, it really doesn't like me. Ending. There we go. Ending now.